What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Got a sweet historic list for you guys. This one we're taking a look at the Abzan Superfriends list. So Superfriends, of course, just basically like a pile of Planeswalkers, and Abzan, of course, is white, black, and green. So in this one here, we're going to run Kaheera as our companion because we're not really running any creatures at all. Basically just relying on Planeswalkers to win the game for us. And so Kaheera is kind of a free roll, and also gives us a win condition as well, since it's a 3/2 Vigilant creature. So sometimes you can just play this down on turn 3 just to protect Planeswalkers, perhaps. Most likely you're just going to be kind of trying to control the board, and then once it's clear you can run out your Kaheera, and then that gives you like a way to help close out the game. But we have some sweet Planeswalkers here to help us win, and that's mostly what we're going to be leaning on. So in the early game, just tons of interaction here. So gonna run a couple copies of Agonizing Remorse here in the main deck. It's pretty useful on most matchups. You're gonna look at your opponent's hand, see what they're up to, and exile any card from either their hand or their graveyard. Of course, it works best against mid-rangey and control matchups. So we got some more tools here in the sideboard, but game one mostly just kind of focus on the creatures aspect. So we have 2 Cast Downs, 4 Heartless Acts, and 2 Legion's End. And so this is particularly great against things like Indatha Vanguard, which is a pretty powerful card in Historic. So you definitely need some way to answer that. This additional exile removal here in Banishing Light. It works well against pretty much anything. Gideon here is our first kind of Planeswalker. Of course, 4 loyalty for a 4/4 Planeswalker is pretty sweet. Just run it as a 1-of, because some situations it's kind of awkward, like you don't necessarily want to play this on turn 3 in a lot of situations, and so having it in your open hand isn't really great. So we're just going to run it here as a 1-of. In other matchups, it's just not very good at all because we don't might not have good ways to protect it quite yet. So we're just going to run 1 copy of, and it's great because obviously we can play this down and then cast our sweepers, and it's indestructible, so we can kill our opponent's side of the board. It has 4 power, so like with Shatter the Sky, we get to draw a card, and then without even losing our Gideon, we get to swing in for 4 damage. Mythos of Nethroi, just fantastic removal spare, 3 mana. Been able to destroy any non-land permanent on our opponent's side, instant speed. Kaya, Orzhov, Usurper, another just 1-of. In certain matchups, she's really fantastic for being able to exile a non-land permanent with mana cost of 1 or less. Mono Blue Tempo has a ton of targets for this: Curious Obsession, Storm Tamer, a Miscloaked Herald, and things like that. And there's plenty of other decks like the more aggressive decks like Knight of Ebon Legion and things like that. But otherwise, she's pretty mediocre in a lot of other matchups. So we're just running her as a 1-of. And of course, her -5 can also be kind of a win condition as well. Elspeth, the Sun's Nemesis, just as a 1-of. Lets us make creature tokens to kind of block with. Then once we do get control of the board, she makes our creatures get +2/+1 until end of turn, so we can kind of turn on the clock pretty high on our opponent and just kind of pressure them out with our own creatures. And of course, if she does die, we can just escape her back and bring her back. In certain situations, we can just use her -3 to gain some life and kind of help us stabilize against the more aggressive matchups. Of course, all 4 copies of Shatter the Sky. 2 copies here of Vraska, Golgari Queen. Much as I'd love to run more of, I think 2 is just kind of the right number because it gets kind of awkward if you draw into multiples. Because she's a great card draw engine here at +2. We are running 26 lands because we do have some pretty high top end here at 6 mana. So we do want to make sure we get to our 6 drops here. But once we get past 6 lands, we don't really need more. So that she can just sacrifice a permanent, even like a creature tokens we make and things like that to help us draw cards. And of course, -3 is most often what we can be casting her for, to drop her here, and then kill something on your opponent's side, maybe Planeswalker, and then if she sticks around long enough to get to her -9, then that's kind of a game ending because we have a bunch of ways to make creature tokens and just kind of grind out our opponents. A couple copies here of Elspeth Conquers Death, of course, just fantastic removal. And then Saga 2 makes it difficult for our opponent to respond to our board state. And then third Saga, we get one of our Planeswalkers back. Just 1 copy here of Vivien Reid. She's a way to dig for lands, which of course works well with Vraska, so we can kind of thin out our deck of lands and then feed those lands to Vraska to help us draw additional cards and gain some life back. But also she's great for artifact, enchantment, and creatures with flying removal. We've got 2 copies here of Vivien Monsters Advocate. This is kind of one of our additional win conditions here. Her +1 to make 3/3 beast tokens. And typically we're probably going to choose Vigilance, especially against more aggressive decks. So that way the 3/3 beast can attack in and still keep it back up on defense. And then the -2 is not really relevant because we don't really have creatures except for Kaheera. And go up to the 6-drop slot here, we do have 2 copies of Liliana. She's one of our all-stars, of course. 6 mana, 6 loyalty planeswalker. Whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. So it's nice that it's any creature, so it doesn't care if it's a token or anything like that. So we can +1 to make a 2/2 zombie token, or we can -4 to make each player sacrifice 2 creatures. So either way, we're going to get a ton of value because all of our creatures, pretty much except for Kaheera, are tokens. So, if we need to -4 to kill our opponent's creatures and we lose a couple of our tokens, we don't really care because we have a bunch of planeswalkers to just keep pumping out tokens turn after turn, and we're going to be drawing some cards in the process. And of course, her -9 is pretty backbreaking. It's just pretty much game over at that point. Garruk is another fantastic winning condition here. 6 mana, 5 loyalty planeswalker. And Garruk here zeros for 2/2 wolf tokens. And whenever those wolves die, they get put a loyalty counter on each Garruk you control, which means you get to -6. And so -6 says you get an emblem with creature you control, get +3/+3, and have trample. So all of our 2/2 tokens now become 5/5s with trample, and that's pretty much game over at that point. And then, of course, the -3 to destroy a creature and draw a card. So it's all about just kind of getting out creature tokens and then having these card advantage engines as well. Same thing here with Vraska. She comes down here at 6 mana for 6 loyalty planeswalker, +2 to make a 2/2 creature with menace. So that's pretty cool. So even if your opponent is able to kind of grind back and get even a couple creatures out, just one creature out maybe, then you can start making menace creatures and just get through for damage that way. And of course, you can -3 to destroy an artifact, creature, or enchantment, and get a treasure token as well. Works fantastic, of course, with Vraska, because then you can just eat up that treasure token to draw additional cards. So going over the mana base here, we do have the 1 Castle Ardenvale. It could be a great way to chump block for our planeswalkers while we're kind of digging for more removal spells. Just the 1 basic planes. 1 Castle Locthwain, just additional card draw, of course. 2 swamps. And then for the dual lands here, 2 Godless Shrine and 3 Isolated Chapel, 2 Overgrown Tomb, 3 Woodland Cemetery, 3 Sunpetal Grove, and 2 Temple Garden. All 4 of the Triomes, and then for a couple non-basics here, additional colorless lands, Arch of Vraska, and then Field of Ruin. So just wanted at least one piece of kind of way to deal with our opponent's non-basic lands. And then Arch of Vraska gives us additional card draw engine as well in the late game. Since we are running so few basics, I don't think you want to run more than 1 Field of Ruin, though it is tempting to run just a couple. But yeah, that's where we're at with the lands. And then, of course, since we are a control deck, we do want to be not losing too much life to our lands, so we're running just 2 of the shock lands and then 3 of the check lands, since Historic is fantastic giving us access to those. So that is the main deck. And go over the sideboard here with some additional tools to help us out with control matchups, and 2 more copies of Duress, and 2 copies here of Agonizing Remorse, along with a couple copies of Davriel, forcing our opponent to discard cards and then punish them if they don't have enough cards in hand, dealing 2 damage to them. And then we also have Grafdigger's Cage for those annoying Agent of Treachery decks, or Luris and things like that. Mythos of Nethroi can just kind of come in when you need more instant speed interaction. Eshek, of course, you need some way to interact with your opponent's graveyard, and this is a great way to do that. Also shuts down our opponent's ability to search for cards in their library. And then for some additional creature interaction, and especially exile interaction, we're running 2 copies of Settle the Wreckage. It's a card that a lot of times people can play around, especially more veteran players, but get somebody who's a little bit newer, or maybe they haven't seen it from us, and so they don't really play around it, because we do have tons of spot removal, like cast downs and Heartless Acts. So they might just be anticipating that we're going to be holding up some single target removal like that, and just go ahead and swing all in, and then we can just catch them off guard a little bit with a Settle the Wreckage. So that's pretty sweet. And yeah, I've had some pretty good success with this deck here in Ranked. Of course, we just got reset with the new season starting, so see how we do down here in Silver. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day wherever you're at. Definitely looking forward to seeing what the ban list brings to us this week. Just the day before the time of I'm recording this, so by the time this is out, you guys will, of course, all of us will know what decisions were made, and we can kind of see if those are positive changes or not. All right, here we go. Up against Jorge Gallardo. So we got Kaheera, and it doesn't like they have anything. So if they are running creatures, we got the Legion's End, and we can Agonizing Remorse, just see what they got. And then we got Garruk coming down eventually, so it seems pretty fun. So we'll lead on the Triome, Temple of Epiphany. So perhaps Grixis or Jessica. And Jessica it is. Well, let's see if we can resolve this Agonizing Remorse. Okay, so they're a Gyruda deck. Captain Sisay is pretty annoying. I mean, we have answers for it. So I think we just turn down their first play, although we have board wipes. So I think we just lead on Shatter the Sky to deal with their these two. And just try to take out the Gyruda if possible before they cast it. But without another Agonizing Remorse, it can be a little bit tricky. They will get the ETB value. So they can go for the Captain Sisay here. Fires. So now we kind of need to answer Fires and Sisay. So we know they can Spark Double next turn. But Gyruda is at least another turn away. I guess we just hold up Mythos. Alright. Typical arena fashion with a super greedy deck. Alright, so I'm just going to activate Sisay. And get a Thran. This is just a tap ability. Wow. Alright, so our opponent's definitely doing some stuff. Crashing Drawbridge. Wow, that's some next level jank right there. So I mean, if we kill Fires, I can still cheat in with Thran. So they're holding up Spark Double. It's pretty annoying as well. I think we just have to deal with Sisay first. Gyruda. I got a Thassa. They can blink Gyruda. I think we just have to answer Gyruda here first because they can do too many shenanigans with it. So I'm definitely running some jank here with the Drawbridge and the Thran. But they're running all these powerful cards, which allows it to do its thing. So we missed our land drop for Garruk, which is fine because we probably want to deal with one of these. I mean, they can cheat in stuff with Thran, which is pretty annoying. But I guess we just go after Thassa, because that can be abused way too easily. Without much going on in their hand, I don't think we have to worry too much about Fires, and Thran just is a matter of what they're top decking here, so we'll see if they can find some card advantage engine. So they can Spark Double, okay, and then we just Shatter the Sky. They could Drawbridge and swing for 7, put us down to 12. No creatures to get back with our Elspeth. We have mana to activate WoW. So we get to draw a card. card is. I'll drop Garruk. Make a couple tokens. Hopefully they can hold the fort down a little bit.
We are the apex predator.
See if they cheat in. Nope. Okay, they're gonna go dig for some more lands. So Legion's in, not really doing much in this matchup. Can answer that drawbridge, but it's kind of a low priority. So they're holding something in their hand. It's a little disconcerting. But we'll just attack. We're holding 2 cards in the hand. They don't know what those cards are. We'll just keep pumping out tokens.
You cannot run.
Let's go for the Banishing Light on the Thran. I have all the mana in the world anyway, but I think we just hold it down there. Good Kaheera. We're at 2, 4, 6, 8, and 3 is 11. Okay, so now they can take one of our creatures out of combat. Well, here's what the Ardenvale is good for. I think take a wolf out of combat. Choose not to. Yeah, you're gonna activate that. And they take 5. Or what, 2, 4, 6, 7. There we go. Yeah, let's drop Kaheera and just try to put as much pressure on them as we can. Pass the turn. Just make another token on their end step. Okay, you ran them out of resources. Ooh. Obviously, if they had hit something with the Thran, that would have been pretty nasty. So cast down doesn't do anything since there are a bunch of only creatures are legendary, except Spark Double, but that'll just copy one of their legendaries. Legion's End, of course, does nothing. So we're just gonna try to hit their hand, I think. So the Remorse, Duress, Davriel. The Banishing Lights are okay, but might just need more instant speed interaction. So Kai didn't feel great. Gideon's okay. Vivien can hit their enchantments or artifacts. Vraska is okay. She didn't really kill anything though, does she? It's mostly just 4 drops that we're worried about. I'll probably take out Vraska. Ashiok hits them pretty hard as well, so maybe in that case we need to make room here at the 3-drop slot by taking out Gideon. And then the question is, do we want a Settle or some more Mythos? Did they have anything that was indestructible? Just bring in a Settle. Let's try it like that. Hopefully we can just kind of hit their hand fast and hard and just kind of demoralize them out of the game. So, pretty reasonable hand. All of our colors. Just start with Tomb into Grove. Maybe we should lead on Castle Ardenvale since we don't have a plains. And we can just shock in if we need to for a Heartless Act or that. Alright, let's Agonizing Remorse here. What do you got? Okay, so they got Karuga, Thran, and Fires. I think Fires gives them the most value. Thran is a little bit scary, but it's also kind of cheeky as well, so. Uro. That's pretty nasty. So we can Sunpetal Grove, force them to discard, which does feed their Uro, which we did not see in game 1. We have spot removal and exile removal to help us answer that if they do get to around to casting it. But for now, let's just hit their hand. that was kind of the strategy against this deck. Wow, unbarrel. So we just kind of did them a favor there. And they find the fires anyway. Alright, well now they have to discard Karuga.
Let's tidy up in there.
And I think we just Elspeth, make a couple 1/1s.
Neither monsters nor gods. Courage will bloom in all who
Now
seek
Davriel will start punishing them.
Loneliness can
We have plenty of removal to deal with their threats. So the good thing is the Unburial Rites is already in their graveyard. Okay, they draw 2 with Karuga. Find Teferi, Bane of Magic the Gathering.
That's more like it.
Alright, so we just destroy Karuga, attack Teferi.
We will meet again.
I can just make a couple more 1/1s. And let's run out Kaheera and really just try to put some pressure on them. Don't need to do anything with Davriel here. Wow, so they're running over 100 card deck and they're still doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So they're at 4 total in their graveyard. They need 2 more cards before they can escape. And they say go. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's give our tokens +2/+1 and see what kind of removal they're running.
You are braver than you know.
They don't have double white for settle, so we'll see what they're up to. I was going to hit them for a bunch here. And do we Mythos one of these permanents? I think we hold off because of the Uro and just kind of see if they try to cast something with it. I mean, they can do it in response anyway, so it's Heartless Act. Since the Mythos is more versatile. So thanks to that play, Davriel will now start pinging them down. They're already down to 9, so we're doing okay. Spark double. Okay. That's not how that works. Oh, so they just want to escape Uro. So they're going to gain 3, go up to 12. So they destroy our Arch of Vraska, which doesn't seem like it's too relevant here in this matchup. I mean, if they can stall us out, maybe. But I guess the big thing for them is they do get to fix their mana to get to double green, double blue for Uro. Just grab a black source. Pretty much have whatever we need here. Actually, we should have grabbed a white so we can activate Castle Ardenvale. My mistake. So they still have 1 card they could cheat in. So we'll just hold up the Mythos to hopefully answer that. We can escape Elspeth here. Thanks to their Field of Ruin activation. But then we can't Mythos in response. It's potentially lethal if we do that. So let's try it. And if they don't have something to cheat in or some other way to answer our board state, then we will just smack them for a ton. And if they do find something, Davriel will still do some damage. They activate Thran, which does nothing. Alright, we got there. So yeah, even against the Jank, they still made us sweat a little bit. Let's jump into another one. Alright, against Okamello. The Orzhov avatar, so it could be a dirty control player. Running Obosh. Okay. Well, we have tons of removal here, so yeah. Let's see how we fare against this version of Obosh. Oh, it's the Is It. Okay. So obviously lead on the Triome. So we have plenty of interaction. We'll do it on their turn though. Force them to use up their mana. And get to Lava Runner. So I think we just have to kill the Storm Tamer because they can just sack it anyway, so. And if they have a response, then they'll be tapped out. Okay, so they cast their dive down and they're just down to 2 cards and they are tapped out, so. We're in a decent spot here. I think we just destroy that while we can. They can hit us for 2 next turn, but that's okay. So they're curving out nicely here. So they're almost up to Obosh territory, but without a huge board presence. They just flashed in Brazen Borrower. Could have another dive down. Maybe that's what they're tempting us for. Missing land drops kind of sucks. We'd love to have a Shatter the Sky that turn. But yeah, we do give them a chance to draw into something, but I think we'd rather just force them to play spells on their turn. I'm assuming they have another dive down, and that's why they did that. Here we just force them to use it on their turn. Wizard's Retort. Okay, so they could still have a dive down, but at least it's their last card. And we get the counter out of their hand, so we can Shatter the Sky. Okay, so I'm guessing that's just a dive down. And if they just Obosh next turn, then we have answers for days. Oh, Bone Crusher Giant. Okay. They just go for Obosh. Works for me. I don't really want to shock in since we're pretty low, so let's just go for the Banishing Light gets around the Bone Crusher Giant, so let's just Mythos now on their right now while they're tapped down. Doesn't really matter. Now we can play this. And then next turn we have options. Make sure their board is clear so we can drop Vivien. Not have to worry too much about a response. Well, if they have a way to deal with our token, like a Brazen Borrower, then all they do is get in for 4. But they have mana to Petty Theft and Brazen Borrower, which means we're in a pretty bad spot. So it's just Elspeth. Keep their board empty. And just go for Vivien next turn, unless we need to Banishing Light something here. Hot. Perfect. To the bottom. Alright, love to see it. Okay, no Ionize. Perfect. Like a 3/3 beast. We'll say Reach.
I love making new friends.
So in case they do get into a Brazen Borrow here later, we can just get a couple of these guys down with Reach, and we'll have some protection from flyers as well. Okay, looks like they're giving up. Sweet. Alright, so being the Izet Obosh. Alright, so we just need lots of instant speed interaction here. And Kai does hit their 1-drops. Legion's End works. Cast Down works. And pretty much everything works here. I'll take out the Banishing Lights for the Mythos, just want more instant speed interaction. I don't know if we need to bring in all the Agonizing Remorse. 2 might just be the right number. Maybe a Settle. We just want to play instant speed as much as possible here. Gideon feels pretty vulnerable. So I think the question is, do we want Settle or Agonizing Remorse? I think Ashok does much against them. Davriel. Just bring in the Settle, and especially on the draw, we'll see how that goes. Well, as most of the things we already have seem to work pretty well in this matchup, so let's not overdo it. Just bring in more instant speed interaction because they're going to run things like Ionize. Man, double white. I mean, these removal spells are fantastic. If Vivien was a black source, that would be fantastic, but alas. Yeah, so we'll keep this. We have 3 lands, perfect for our colors, and we'll drop a Settle the Wreckage. It's not something you usually need more than one of. And the Legion's End, perfect. So we'll get to exile something next turn and peek at their hand. Spectral Sailor. Wow, double blue here. So definitely expecting them to have some kind of a protection or a counter spell. So maybe we just hold up cast down. And I mostly just have to dodge counter magic. So as tempting as it is to do it there, I mean, there's a good chance they have a dive down. I think as much as possible we just want to play things on their turn and force them to kind of tap out. We'll take one and see what they do here. Nothing. Okay, we'll get the counter or protection spell out of their hand. Force them to use mana on their turn. If they want to tap out for Ionize, we'll happily take that, and the Legion's End next turn so we can get rid of the Spectral Sailor and look at their hand. Okay, so they just got the dive down. They've got 2 mana open still. Land is perfect. We don't have much going on, so I think we'll just fire off the Legion's End and just kind of see what happens. We got 1 dive down out of their hand. We'll see if they have another. We do have a Settle and eventually a Liliana. Wow, look out, it's Dispersal. So running them out of resources pretty good. Our life total is at 16, so we're doing okay. And they immediately just say go. And we are drawing our lands, which is good, because we do want to get to Liliana. Is it worth firing off a Settle here? And they're stuck on 3 lands, so if we can just kind of keep them from drawing cards, I think we're okay. Definitely feel like they have a Brazen Borrower here. So let's just take it, since we're not really doing anything until a couple more turns anyway. If we can get them to commit to a Brazen Borrower here, just as a 3/1 creature, and then we can settle next turn. And they do not. Okay, so cast down's okay. Do want to hit a land next turn for try to get one of these planeswalkers down. So we'll kind of see how they play this as far as if they flash something in. Nope, they do not. So just attacking with Spectral Sailor still. They're stuck on 3 lands, so that's pretty good. So we'll let's fire off this cast down. We'll hold up Settle as long as we can. And let them cast. Okay, so they tap out for Ionize. That's beautiful. And we found a land, but it is unfortunately a tapped land. That could prove to be the difference here. I mean, they're tapped out. Being able to resolve either one of these planeswalkers would have been amazing, but alas, we will just drop our tap land and let's just do Kaheera. I mean, they're not. I don't think it's worth settling the Spectral Sailor. So let's see if they have a way to deal with it. Nope. They're going to Curious Obsession, start drawing some cards. Probably find some lands here. So I have another Ionize. Obviously, we're not going to run a Planeswalker into a obvious counter magic, so we'll just hold up Settle, because they're going to definitely attack with the Spectral Sailor. We'll get something out of their hand. Okay, so they have. Can we play around 3 counter spells? That is pretty insane. I mean, we can take one, and they just cast another one next turn. I mean, I think we're pretty much dead at this point. They can just flash in the Brazen Borrower and then just hold up the Wizard's Retort, hit us for 5. And if we do anything next turn, they can still, yeah. There's no way we can beat that many counter magic. Wow, that's it's pretty brutal. Okay, so we do need more duresses then if they're going to be up to that kind of shenanigans. Legion's End is okay. Definitely got a ton of value off of it. I think just having more access to their hand is probably better. And Elspeth is okay. And Vivien was just okay. So yeah, let's just do it like that. Alright. So hopefully they don't draw 5 million counter spells this game. And they're stuck on lands, which is nice, but yeah, still having like 1 million counter spells is pretty brutal. Just dress, we can at least get like either a counter spell or a Curious Obsession out of their hand. And then we'll just play the Triome next turn. Opt. Let's just take the counter magic. So we got 1 counter spell out of their hand. So this Wizard's Retorts and Ionizes. Definitely needed that. So now we're looking like we're just going to play Kaheera on 3 just to block this Lava Runner. Or force a counterspell out of their hand. Another Shatter. We desperately need to hit a land here. That's why we're running 26, so we can hit our land drops as consistently as possible. Whale Scions. That's pretty devastating. I mean, the first strike, can't do anything about that, so no blocks. I mean, if we hit our land, then we can kill the Scions. So now we're still in it. If we did not, then I think we were pretty much out of it. Vigilance, so we'll attack for 3. And just try to protect Vraska. So we need to just keep hitting lands here, maybe find some speed removal. Opponent says go. +1. I don't think we can afford to lose anything here. We'll decline. Yeah, we'll attack. If they want to trade, that's fine. Okay. Sure. Okay, so they'll hold up Lookout's Dispersal here. They can swing 1 in the air at Vraska. They shock in for Obosh. I mean, they're going to counter it, but we still have to make them do the thing. Okay, so we know they have a Lookout's Dispersal still. So we have to get that out of their hand somehow. Of course, Vraska at 3. I think we just suicide our Vraska to deal with this. We found a land, which is pretty sweet. We can't counter that. So now hopefully they just Obosh, and then we can Elspeth. Perfect. Okay, so we'll see if we can force them to counter something here. Let's force them to counter this. Okay. Whew. Man, all those counter magic. Brutal. Alright, we got there. Just like that. Sweet, you guys got to see me rank up back up to gold. So yeah, pretty powerful deck, I think, in as far as historic rank play. Obviously not the best deck, of course, but it is definitely a good one that you can rank up at least to a point. Could use maybe a little bit more tweaking still, but I feel pretty good with where it's at right now. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, make sure you guys jank with a purpose. Take care.